So while I'm here, I figured why not do Virgo sun? Okay, Virgo sun. I know a lot about Virgo sun. I've had a lot of Virgo suns in my life. So first things first, sun is all about, a person's will, a person's drive, kind of why we do what we do in this life, the vehicle that we're in. It describes a lot of people's mannerisms, their strengths, what they view as their strengths, and their weaknesses, and some of the weaknesses that they cannot see, that they don't perceive themselves, but other people may be able to perceive for them or due to their behavior. So when you want to talk about Virgo, Virgo is, first of all, earth sign. So they're practically based. They are a very grounded type of sign. When I think of Virgo, I think of the colors green, like dark forest green, and brown and black and wood grain. I don't know, but they're a mutable sign as well. So the thing about Virgo is that they can be they're very meticulous people. They're very detail oriented. They're worried about the function of things. If you ever think about, famous Virgos, Michael Jackson, Beyonce, I don't agree, but I know a lot of people can argue that they might not have been the most technically talented artists, but they work so hard, they perfect. So, they perfect whatever it is that they put their mind to. So some people might say, there might be singers out there that sang better than Michael, but Michael was still the greatest. People say all the time, oh, Beyonce is not that good of a singer. I don't agree, because if you hear some of that live feedback, honey, listen to that live feedback from the Grammys this year, 2017, where she did Love Drought and was it Sandcastles? I don't remember, but listen to that feedback. It sounds better than the studio version. And the lady's like however many months pregnant with twins. Like, she has worked to perfect the function of her vocal cords and her diaphragm and her core, so much so to the point that it's almost like she is incapable of, you would think she's incapable of making a mistake. Now, we all know better. We all know that we're all human. But Virgo, it's like they can develop superhuman capabilities with their determination, because they pay attention to the things that most people don't. They understand, when they look at something, they see the flaws first. If you ever watch like how Beyonce puts together a stage show, even just back from the early days when she first kind of broke away from her dad, or even when she first broke away from Destiny's Child, she was like, what, 22, something like that. She was calling hella shots, because she can literally put her eyes on something and say, no, this is not right, this is not right, this is not right. But the thing about it is that people tend to say Virgo suns are pessimistic, which is halfway true. But at the end of the day, they're only giving you certain criticisms in order to make your agenda run better. So if you think about whatever Virgos in your life as, when they start to do that nagging ass bullshit, because they do nag, they can be, man, when I say detail oriented, I mean that in every way. It's not just on the job, oh, something good to put on your resume. No, it's like a lifestyle. It's a way of life. It's like I said about Leo, it's the lenses that they see life through. They can't help it. It's not something that they can turn off or turn on or say, you should be less this or less that. That's them. That's the package that they come in. And you have to learn how to accept everyone for who they are, and not use people, but if you're not being used, you're useless. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to utilize people's skill sets and their natural abilities, So with Virgo, they are just, they're practical in the way of, if you want to talk about the progression of earth signs coming from Taurus, where Taurus understands assets and liabilities, and kind of how to spend money and it's like they understand the value of things. Taurus understands how to acquire value, how to hoard and save money. They understand how to not necessarily invest, because they're not as risky, but if they are going to get into investment, they make sure to make the safest investments, because they like to look back and see things grow, right? So that's kind of like where you plant your seeds. So I like to think of Virgo as kind of like how, like, the best fertilizer to use, and the best, how to harvest the crop, and then once you harvest it, what's the best way to mill it, or I don't know what they do to damn crops nowadays, but What's the best way to get this crop from the ground to the supermarket? That's Virgo. They're going to look at the process and do what they can and give whatever insights they can on how to make that process more efficient, how to make it make more money for you and make the most sense. They will call your ass out, most definitely. If you're talking stupid, if you say some dumbass shit, Virgo is the first person. Virgo anything. Virgo sun, moon, Virgo rising. If you're in a social situation, or just, you know, any situation, two people dialogue, you know, and you say some dumbass shit, oh, he keeps cheating on me, but I just love him. A Virgo cannot stand. They're gonna be like, they're gonna literally look at you. Did you just hear yourself? You hear how stupid that sounds? I don't even almost want to be associated with your dumb ass anymore, because you make stupid ass life decisions. Excuse me. Virgo is definitely not above that. Did you see how Beyonce told that girl? You remember. You know what I'm talking about. My ladies. Okay. Y'all remember that damn... What's the girl name? Farrah. When they were in the studio, Beyonce was like, it's better for you to go home without your luggage than for you to miss your flight. She told her straight up, bye, girl, you don't fit in here, honey. Like, no shade, no tea, not trying to be funny, but you're of no use to us. You don't help us run any better. We don't need you. You're dead weight. Virgo cannot stand dead weight in any way, shape, or form. They also like to, they're really good planners. They're very good people to go to if you need advice. Even though sometimes you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, because they're a little bit of a sterile type of sign. They look at the facts. They look at what you're presenting to them. They don't really go that deep into emotions and feelings unless it's their own emotions and feelings. Even though once they get older, they can understand like human nature to a weird degree. Like, you know, people will be people. Like, even though they don't understand why people do a lot of dumbass shit in life, they just get that that's yet another process that you just have to in order to be on a level to where you can understand it. You have to be able to comprehend that human nature is not something that you can make sense of, and they at some point in their lives tend to come to peace and come to terms with that. You know, because even in the younger years or older years, you know, if they're parents, they tend to be real strict types. Like, you are going to know what to expect out of a Virgo parent. They're definitely not gonna be, you know, too elusive about the rules. You know what I'm saying? Or like what they expect out of you. Yeah. Even though, like I said, they may be a little bit emotionally unavailable at times, they still believe in like being raised a certain way and having a certain, I keep hearing like home training, like home sense. Like, we taught you better than that. You were not raised this way. That's like such a Virgo parent thing to say, because they take responsibility so very literally and seriously, you know. So if they're being in charge of raising you or like making sure of your well-being, they're not worried about being all lovey-dovey like, say, like maybe a Cancer parent might be, or but they will protect you. They will give you a stable environment. Now, I noticed with Virgo, there's something that goes on with Virgo and infidelity, especially in their younger years. I don't know where exactly that stems from. Maybe they feel like they can't ever find a perfect partner. Like, because with Virgo partners, they do tend to want for the other person to be as apt as them. Or they're idealistic, so they can have an idea of like what the partner should be and what perfection would be in the relationship, and nobody's ever going to live up to that. So even though they can be very loving, and I've known quite a few Virgos to be very stable love partners, at some point they always come to some type of area where they feel like they want to tap into their dark side, because like I said, they are meticulous and kind of like calculating, so they're good at cheating. I mean, for lack of a better way to say it, they're good at cheating. They're good at being in the shadows and like outsmarting people and covering up their trail so that they're not, like, they throw you off. Like, you would never expect that from them until they get sick of hiding it. And if you're stupid, they will definitely play your ass for that, especially the men. Mostly the men, they will cheat on your ass, and y'all might have a whole family and they know it, but you can't really say shit because he still take care of you. You know what I'm saying? He'll still like make sure the bills are paid and, you know, that type of shit. But like at the end of and come to the Christmas party with your ass and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he's fucking a whole mistress and has been fucking this mistress for like 5 years. And bitch, I dare you to say something. Like that type of energy. But at some point, and I think it stems a little bit from them being a little more self-righteous. And like I said, you pair that up with that perfection gene and that wanting to be perfect. Sometimes things can be a little too overwhelming for Virgo. And so they almost surrender to the imperfections in life. And so it's kind of like, if I can't have the perfect relationship, I might as well cheat. You know, like this is never going to be, nothing's ever going to be perfect anyway. So why am I trying so hard to put up all my energy towards being, you know, this stable force? Because they take responsibility very, very seriously, especially men, you know. So sometimes the relationship can become a little bit of a burden. And being that they're so grounded, a lot of times Virgos tend to attract more risky types. So say like Sagittarius Virgo is a big one. Cancer Virgo, Pisces Virgo is a big one. And with those types of signs, like Sag not so much, but Sag is more of a risky type person, so they would depend on the Virgo party to be more grounded. And with that level of burden, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of like a burden, so they kind of need a place to exhale, you know, a place to release. With the water sign, earth sign thing, the water sign is definitely looking for stability in the earth sign. So that means that they always have to be solid like a rock. But like, what human doesn't need to decompress at some point, you know? And so with Virgo always trying to put up this perfect image, he might be the type to perpetuate that in work, in his home life, and then go to the bar every day like Cheers after work and get shit faced. You know what I'm saying? Because, or he might be not a silent drunk, but a secret drunk, carrying around a flask or some shit, like, or popping pills like Wall Street, doing coke or something like that, just to kind of like, and getting head in the office, you know what I'm saying, while his wife and kids sit on his desk, the family portrait sits right on his desk or something. Like, they tend to be burdened people, or at least they tend to make themselves feel burdened. Now the female Virgo, people like to say, oh, female Virgos, you know, the maiden, the virgin, lies, honey, lies. One thing that I will say, Virgo tends to be more of a, because they're a mutable sign, I think that that's where this comes in. They're pleasers. They're people pleasers. So the men and the women in relationships tend to want to be whatever it is that their partners lack, especially because they have a keen eye for sensing where people lack and what people need. Oh shoot, hold on, I'm sorry, my laptop's about to die. It's over 4%. Yes, you guys see my ball shorts, but whatever. So, charge, girl. I don't have time for you to be dying in the middle of upload. So, yeah, so, not bad. The Aquarius sun, honey, I'm sorry, I'm quirky. But yeah, so the women tend to be more, on the damsel in distress, yo. Like, Virgo women can be very in charge of their lives and their realities, but like I said, that burden entity comes in. I see a lot of Virgo women who either don't have the parental support needed and they become like parents to their parents, or they may have parental support but they may have been the oldest, and so, or this the one with the most sense, and so they tend to have to take care of younger siblings. They may be the grandchild that takes care of the grandparent. They tend to have parents that have been addicts or have engaged in some sort of overindulgent activities. And so it causes them to almost have to mature very quickly. And even if none of that is the case, they're still very, very keen, mature children. And so it's like when they grow up, I'm trying to tell y'all, this spectrum thing, I'm going to perfect the theory, but I just feel like whenever you participate in whatever issue it is for you, I guess, in life, that's a theme. So for Virgo, it tends to be like the burdened versus the victim. Like the person who takes on the most in life, a lot of times needs the most help. That's what I'm really trying to say. Like for Virgo, I see that they tend to be more on the side of not wanting to look stupid with things, so they hide their issues. But a lot of times that leaves them in a fucked up place in life, you know, and they don't know how to ask for help. And so when they get in relationships, they tend to feel like they found the one when someone can finally take care of them, the women. When they can find a man who understands the level of stability. Like, if a Virgo trusts you to do something for them, you really must be a trustworthy motherfucker. Because they don't believe that anybody's thought process is good or trustworthy unless it's at par with theirs or better. You know what I'm saying? And the men tend to want to be almost like a in a servant, not a servant, but you know what I mean, like in a way of expressing servitude to their partners. They want to be a provider. But do you see how those two things are kind of contrary? Like, how are you the provider and the servant? But that's their way of serving. That's their way of putting forth, effort and giving themselves to someone. You know, Virgos are very complex, very, very, very complex creatures. They can be some of the best people to have on your team, but you do kind of have to watch out for if they've rotted out. Because if they've rotted out, that Virgo mindset can turn hella pessimistic hella quick, and it'll be the biggest turn off ever, because they just are so upfront with the grim realities of life a lot of times that sometimes that shit gets blown out of proportion and they don't know how to see the light anymore. And so they put that energy on other people. Like, they might rain on your parade and think that they're trying to help you when really they're just being a damn Debbie Downer, and I call it an SM, like a stick in the mud. Like, why you gotta be the bearer of bad news all the time? Like, how come you can't never just congratulate somebody, or you know, whatever? And they can be good friends and they will do that, but only if it's warranted, only if it's really like you really accomplished something. But like I said, if they're rotten, then no, it's like they don't know how to do that. They are scared to do that. They don't trust that. They don't trust good things. They don't trust positive things. They're like, oh yeah, you got this promotion, but watch you hate the job. Girl, oh yeah, you got that promotion, but I heard that new boss that you getting ready to get, honey, like, girl, I'm gonna be getting paid more. Like, nobody cares. Like, let's go out, have a couple drinks. Why are you tripping? That's not even your problem, you know? But they'll pick and they will find honey, and they will find it, honey. But yeah, overall, I think they're some of the best people to have on your team if you want an objective view at something. My theory is, you know, Sex and the City, I think Miranda was the Virgo. I really do. She was a lawyer. She was detail oriented. She could pick out, you know, with lawyers, you have to have a keen eye. You have to have a good sense of, like, you know, where to find your arguments and shit like that. She just was always a damn Debbie Downer, you know. She liked to stay at home most of the time. They had to drag her out the house to get her to have fun. But when she came out, she was looking cute or whatever. You know, she had her little shortcut. You know, she was sassy. You know what I'm saying? She understood. She had her little expensive clutch, expensive shoes and shit like that. She fit in and everything. But just her nature, that's just her. That's the vehicle